Once upon a time, there was a girl named Mei who at the age of 6 got lost near Lake Toya. Legend has it that on the island of Hokkaido in northern Japan, Mei was playing with her family near the lake when she disappeared. The wise people of the land assured they never found her, but her soul remained deep in the soil and the air. Once the days got hotter and the trees started singing duos with the wind, Mei's tears started falling from the sky. Her tears resulted in the Tsuyu that crosses Japan north to south every month of June. It is then when Haruhi, Mei's mother, reaches for her, searching for her through the rays of sunshine that the clouds allow us to see. It is told that mother and daughter will find each other through the 6th month of the year at the gates of a great Niji. In Nemuro, a far-off city north of Hokkaido, where time stops and the streets are empty, the Hanasaki lighthouse warned Mei her mother was not to be found around its cliffs, but it did see her days ago on her way to the city of Sapporo. Amongst the sunbeams between the clouds, the cars and the beautiful streetcars, Haruhi walked the streets of the big capital of Hokkaido. The majestic television tower offers her the extraordinary heights of 147 meters, so she can widen her search and look for her child. Nevertheless, she had no luck. Sad, Haruhi strolled through the gardens of the clock tower, which from the heart of the city marked the hours since 1881. Haruhi asked for her little one, and the tower admitted to never having seen Mei near or far from her gardens. But her mother did not lose hope and headed to Mount Moiwa. The mountain's unusual height might help her find new clues. In this short trip, she can see the citizens finding shelter from the heat, visiting fountains, approaching benches underneath the trees, while the children splashed around in the water. The city seemed to shrink from Mount Moiwa, while it yawned and shone orange at the sunset. Haruhi from up above asked the city of Sapporo if it might have seen her daughter. In answer, a summer breeze smelling of flowers and apples reached her nose. Worried and surprised, Haruhi understood from this that Mei could not even have set foot into Sapporo due to her horrible allergies, but she might be near, very near, so near that she might just be in the neighboring city of Aomori eating apples. Thus, the smell of apples brings us from Sapporo to Chitose, from Chitose to Hakodate, and from Hakodate to Aomori, through the Seikan Tunnel, across the Tsugaru Strait. The sun shone eager and strong, brightening up the fruit stands in the area, where the travelers, on their way to Hokkaido, used to get supplies to face the trip between the two islands. The heat imposed its presence as the day went by, and in between corners and hidden sanctuaries, the stores started to close, emptying out the streets. The big building shaped like a pyramid, where the city's tourism office was located, let the mother know Mei had not been seen there. It's suspected that the mother was not following her instincts correctly, but letting herself be guided by empty gut feelings. The big pyramid of Aomori could only tell the mother to follow her path to the south, and that sooner or later, a beautiful Niji would appear, where she would finally find Mei. The clouds gathered near the little city of Matsushima, looking out of the corner of their eyes at little Mei, entering town with tears in her eyes, leaving the afternoon gray and cold. The Zen temple Tsuyu takes the little girl in, drying her eyes and calming her down. The peace Mei could feel in the gardens of the temple lulled her to sleep, giving a break to the visitors, umbrella in hand. Haruhi's rays of light burst into the 260 islands around Matsushima before the sunset. In the distance, a red bridge joins the town with the island Fukurajima, where Haruhi once more asked for her daughter. To this, the island, looking over the people visiting its interior, lied to Haruhi. It claimed never to have seen such a little girl on her own. Haruhi, disappointed and sad, left Matsushima without knowing Mei was still sleeping in the gardens of Tsuyu. Tears kept falling strongly over the Gifu Prefecture, the so-called Japanese Alps. Little May cried in anger, knowing she was so close to hugging her mother again. Meanwhile, in Shirakawago, time had stopped and had left a magical village as its legacy, clouds coming down from the sky curious to see. The minka still standing helped May look for her mother. These houses of Agasho Thukuri style, which could be translated as hands joined in prayer, offered the girl a chance to ask for one wish. In exchange, the minka asked for May to continue her crying, so the rice in all of the land could grow healthy and strong this year. May's little steps were fading into the puddles in Takayama, a town which, having no crops, survives thanks to its great masters in woodwork. The oldest streets are a living example of past times, when samurais walked through the city as if they owned it. River Miyagawa, on its way through the city, greeted May with an ample smile. The river's waters carried great news, drying the girl's tears and assuring her that there is a great Niji near the Nikko sanctuary. Her mother would be waiting for her there. Little May, drying her eyes, hugged the river and continued her path east, leaving behind a trail covered in gentle beams of light. Cedar Avenue, surrounded by over 13,000 trees, guides the way towards the mausoleum for the Shogun Tokugawa Ieyasu, near the woods of Nikko. While passing through the great granite torii, little May could not see her mother, and as much as she looked up, could not seem to find her anywhere. Once the girl's eyes started getting moist and the rain started threatening the area, the spirit of the great shogun appeared to help. He took her hand, and together they visited every corner of the mausoleum, searching for Haruhi. In the meantime, the shogun told May some of her adventures of his youth and of how he became shogun of Japan. Once their visit was over, they were unable to find the little girl's mother. May brought her hands to her eyes and could not help but cry. The shogun bent down until he was at her same height. He dried her tears and said,
"Don't be sad, little May. You will find your mother. Should you have to cry, let it always be to remember."
But her mother was not far. Haruhi's light fell on the streets of Tokyo. Being such a big city, she set her mind on sweeping every single street and area that might be interesting. First, the temple Sensoji in Asakusa, full to the brim with people. On the Takeshita Street, in the Harajuku neighborhood, the smell of waffles mixed in with the sound of the shopkeepers offering their potential clients the best prices. Right next to that, at Yoyogi Park, where the Meiji Sanctuary rises in silence, Haruhi looked through all visitors paying their respects to the Emperor Meiji and Empress Shoken. Tokyo Tower greeted Haruhi and very nicely informed her May never crossed through there, nor near the temple of Tojoji. Night fell on Tokyo. The streets woke up around the restaurants and bars. The commotion in Akihabara, near its stores, filled with nostalgia, and the 1,001 ways to go through the scrambled crossing in Shibuya left Haruhi out of energy until the next day. Before leaving Tokyo to go west, Haruhi offered the giant Buddha of Kamakura a great ray of light, hoping this would help her find May once and for all. After she left Tokyo for good, the clouds got restless. They got together and they started crying, offering their tears to little May, who did not make it in time to find her mother. Sensoji started losing its color, and people walked around umbrellas in hand. The park of Ueno dressed up in gray, the wooden swans didn't come out to swim, and the lotus blossoms in Lake Shinobatsu refused to bloom. This saddened May even further, who, in her despair, was captured by the night and got carried away by the lights in Akihabara. The arrival of Haruhi to Nara offered the visitors a nice rest from the rain, allowing them to get closer to the Sika deer in the park, considered messengers of the god. The deer in Nara bowed their heads in respect to obtain a senbei cracker from the local shopkeepers. Haruhi entered the city, only to discover the great sanctuaries and temples of the area, such as the stunning Nigatsu-do, which, from above, offers an unforgettable view of the whole town of Nara. The summer breeze swept over the visitors, who hurried to go up the stairs of the temple as Haruhi approached the great door of Nandaimon, guarded by its two neo-custodians, who welcomed Haruhi, stating the great Buddha of Nara was awaiting her to help. Without a trace of doubt, she entered the Hall Daibutsuden, known as the biggest wooden building in the world, where the great Buddha of Nara awaits. The great Buddha, standing 15 meters tall, awaited Haruhi with great news. He surprised her, let her know that Mei was on her way to Kyoto and that soon everything would be over. It was only a matter of patience and letting time do its work and putting everything in order. Haruhi, a big smile on her face, left Nara behind on her way to the near Osaka before setting way to the majestic city of Kyoto. The last rays of sunshine bounced off the walls of the great castle in Osaka, which from above looked at time pass, while at the same time watching over the city day and night. The kitchen in Japan opens its doors, and on the streets of Dotonbori, the smells started getting together for takoyakis, yakitoris, okonomiyakis, and endless other delicacies that would make anyone fall in love. The night ran its course, and the many restaurants in the Shinsekai neighborhood started to close, leaving only Tsutenkaku Tower shine in silence once more. Arashiyama woke up with the sway of the summer breeze, coursing its way in between the hundreds of bamboo sticks covering the entrance of Haruhi into Kyoto. Convinced of the words by the great Buddha of Nara, Haruhi looked for her little girl in between the masses of Kyoto. The gardens at Nijo Castle, sophisticated and delicate, informed Haruhi they had not yet seen Mei, but she should surely be close. The Zen temple, Ginkakuji, had not seen the girl either, but the silence of its lands let Haruhi hear the voice of her daughter from afar. Following that trail, she crossed the Higashi Honganji temple very close to the train station. Mei's laughter kept booming through every single step she took in Kyoto. Even in Fushiminari, through its large gathering of visitors, the mother could hear her daughter clearly. Haruhi's nerves turned into heat, burning the city and attracting the cicadas. The great Kinkakuji, elegant and majestic, had not seen the girl either, and advised Haruhi the best thing she could do before the day ended was to reach the views of Kiyotomidera Temple and ask the city. Mei's laughter was clearer and stronger by the minute, but the mother could still not see her little girl. In the lands of Kiyotomidera, just as the sun was starting to slowly fall, Haruhi asked the city of Kyoto for her daughter's whereabouts. The city politely answered to Haruhi, confirming Mei crossed through the city in one go, so none of the temples had been able to see her. It recommended to keep going west and possibly finding her by the sea. It was then that Haruhi remembered one of her daughter's favorite places, Miyajima. Mei's tears had today turned into smiles. The sun shone brightly, and there were no clouds covering the light. She just reached Miyajima, her favorite place in all of Japan. As she stepped off the ferry, she set course to Daishoin Temple. Its height on the way to the top of Mount Misen might help her find her mother. Haruhi reached Itsukushima with her daughter's laughter still present. Thanks to that, she knew she was very, very close to finding her again. She walked in the direction of the floating torii, which in its immense beauty had been witness to so many floods and fires through its existence. From above, Mei finally saw her mother, and what used to be tears of sadness was now tears made of happiness. She ran down from the top of Mount Misen, crying for her mother. Haruhi finally heard her daughter's voice, still not knowing from where it was coming. She realized she was standing right below a great and beautiful Niji. It was in that moment that Mei appeared through the beach near the sanctuary, and she saw her mother awaiting her with open arms. Both of them disappeared into a hug, while Mei's tears and Haruhi's light fueled the Niji that stood over the floating torii. At last, mother and daughter had found each other at the end of the 6th month, just as it was told by the wisest man at Lake Toya. The Tsuyu went throughout the whole land, watering the crops and filling up the dams, as the heat of the summer let its presence be known throughout moments, hinting at the warm days to come. And it was so that, until the next year, mother and daughter would be together, right until the arrival of the 6th month of the year. Are you up to following the Tsuyu's path and helping Mei?